Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and we are setting off in the Accord Hybrid. And I'm actually really excited for this particular review because this is like 2 times the elevation of where I normally review. With the Hondas in Utah, it's usually at like 4,000, 4,500 feet elevation, depending on the dealership that I'm at. But here we're at 9,000 feet. And I think that this is actually really going to show some big benefits of the hybrid powertrain, because with the electric side of things, you don't get any sort of power loss at higher elevation. Obviously with, you know, the naturally aspirated engine under the hood, there is going to be a little bit, we'll see what happens there. But first off, what I'm noticing is we've got this crazy potholed road, but the car actually just handles it so well. It doesn't go anywhere, it stays just right in line. And so they've done a really good job with the suspension and the chassis. And speaking of that, really comfortable drive. Longer wheelbase, but what I've noticed with modern Hondas, you know, the new Civic, the Pilot, and this Accord, is they've spent a lot of time with making the cars comfortable so that they're extremely daily drivable. And you don't sacrifice handling with that comfort is also what I've noticed. The car handles really well, and you know, this segment is more about comfort and daily drivability, but the steering actually feels really good in this car. Like it has a really good directness to it. The car actually feels like there's some liveliness to it. You don't get that in a lot of other cars in the segment. Now we're just gonna put it over into the, actually, we'll do econ mode first. We'll do sport mode when we're heading on the way up, because that'll be, you know, obviously acceleration, keeping the speed while we're going uphill. But what I'm also noticing about this powertrain is it is trying to keep the car in fully electric mode as often as possible. And that's obviously going to save you on gas quite substantially. And obviously going downhill, we're going to be charging, you know, the battery pretty much continuously for the most part. But yeah, super smooth. And I really like the biggest thing that I like is just going around these corners, just with how stable everything feels in the new Accord. This drives more like a luxury car than anything else. And I think that's been a big focus with Honda over the last few years, is going more towards the luxury side. And that's why you've got some design details like what I call the mega vent here, where it just goes all across with the trim piece. It looks really cool. But then a lot of the touch points as well, like your touch points for the climate controls, for the steering wheel, it all leads to more of that luxury experience here with the Accord. So we are in the sport mode now, and we're going uphill. Like I said, we're at almost like 9,000 feet here. Definitely louder. That's quick. And I just put the paddles to max regen mode. So what you do is, if you press the minus paddle, it increases the regen. If you press the plus paddle, it decreases the regen. So I'm gonna go all the way to, so this is the least amount of regen on the system. So you can see letting off, the car just pretty much coasts. And then I'm gonna set it to in the middle. So here's kind of like the middle. So I let off, it does pull back a bit more. And then I'm gonna set it to the max now with the regen here. I like the sound in sport mode, it's cool. And the transmission is, with the transitions, it's really sharp actually. So here's max regen. Yeah, it's like one pedal drive that you get in plug-in hybrids and electric cars. You don't see this in traditional hybrids, which I think is really cool that Honda's doing that. Because then this will allow you, again, to charge up the battery more. But that one pedal drive experience, especially when you're on roads like this where there's a lot of turns and all of that, and elevation changes, it's nice being able to do the one pedal drive. Gives your leg a little bit of a rest, right? But the thing that I'm also really impressed with is just how I'm able to keep up to speed, and it's not difficult whatsoever. The car is, I'm not, you know, at 5,000 RPMs and the engine just screaming to keep up. It's like I'm barely into the throttle and the car is just, it's going up. It's really impressive with the overall power. And the thing that I'm also noticing is while we're going uphill, the engine is on, the engine is working, but it's pretty minimal. Most of the power is actually coming from the electric side of things. So here's just letting off. Got a lower speed zone here, and you can see like that, no brake at all. That was all from the regen system. That's so cool with it. So we'll kind of sum things up for this short mountain drive here with the Accord Sport Hybrid. When it comes to, obviously, you know, this is all about driving. Didn't really see the outside, but you guys saw the thumbnail. When it comes to styling, I am a huge fan of Honda's new design language. I think they've done a really good job. The cars have this upscale appearance, similar to like what Mazda did a few years ago, but the thing that I like about what Honda's done is they've gone for kind of like a boxy design with some of the elements, and so the cars look really, really cool. I mean, like the Pilot, for example, it has almost like a Range Rover appearance in a sense, where it's got that cool boxy SUV design. So I think they've done a really good job with the styling. The interior feels very upscale for the segment. Most cars in this segment, right, the interiors just aren't going to look this nice. They aren't going to feel this nice either. So I think they've done a good job with that. It's really comfortable. It drives really well. It's got great power. Now, if you're wondering hybrid versus non-hybrid, I've driven both of them quite extensively at this point, and I really like the hybrid. I think that if I was going to get this car, I think I would probably go for the hybrid powertrain, especially since, you know, with the one pedal drive and everything, I like the driving experience that this provides. I think the turbocharged engine it's great. It's got good power, but the fuel economy that you get with this and the power, it's really good, and I don't think that you're missing out on anything with the hybrid versus the turbocharged engine. This car, you know, being fully electric, super quiet. So like, it allows you to enjoy the nature more so than, you know, other like, you know, regular ICE cars. Like, look at this. That's actually really nice looking. I didn't know that you had places in Colorado that look this pretty. Yeah, that's pretty impressive. So there's that part. Now, the next part that I think is really cool is just, we're at higher elevation, and the acceleration is so seamless, right? It's just, again, you get all the power, all the torque right off the bat. So it's really smooth. Now, some other stuff here. This obviously, you know, being a loaded up Mercedes, it's an S-Class SUV. It's got heated and cooled seats. It's got massaging seats. It's got dual zone climate. It's got freaking pillows. I don't know if you guys can see that on camera. Pillows in the headrests. You know, full panoramic sunroof, cool ambient lighting, and this fake leather is what I'll call it. It actually feels pretty good, and I like the overall, like the fit and finish. It's actually really solid as well with this car, that is for sure. But yeah, it's a very nice interior. It's very comfortable. And I think that this is like the perfect experience for this park for me. Because again, like you guys can see, bumper to bumper traffic. So it's not like, I mean, if I was in a performance car, for example, I wouldn't be able to use any of the performance. Whereas this, you know, just cruising along. With that being said though,